As you know, every day I try and get every single person listening to this podcast thinking differently about how we're all surrounded by technology just about everywhere we look, and in sometimes areas that we don't associate with technology too. And today I want to discuss how the fusion of IoT, AI and smart vending technology is redefining the convenience of grab-and-go food shopping. Because today I'm joined by Aslak de Silva. He is CEO of Selfly Store, and I invited him on here to explore the innovative ways that his company is leveraging a variety of technologies to transform the retail landscape, and also how their intelligent vending machines are not just vending products, they're predicting consumer demand, optimizing operations and offering around-the-clock service without increasing its overhead costs. So I want to learn more about that, how it's utilising real-time data and AI to boost sales significantly, manage inventory more efficiently, and even influence consumer behaviour with dynamic pricing. And if we've got time, also learn more about his vision for a future where hyperlocal half-mile stores become commonplace, seamlessly serving the immediate needs of a community through automated data-driven solutions. So buckle up and hold on tight as I beam your ears all the way to Finland as we uncover the technical and business insights that are setting this company apart in the smart vending market. So a massive warm welcome to the show. Can you tell everyone listening a little about who you are and what you do?
Yeah, hi Neil, thanks for having me. My name is Aslak de Silva. I'm the CEO for Selfly Store. We drive with intelligent vending machines, which are pretty cool. We'll get to talk about those more. I live in Finland, so yeah, maybe that's a short story of me.
Fantastic. Sounds incredibly cool. And I suppose to set the scene for our conversation today, can you start by explaining how Selfly Store's smart vending machines differ from, let's say, traditional vending machines that we've all seen in airports and gyms and everywhere we go, and also the role of technology, what key technologies you're employing to enhance this grab-and-go shopping experience?
So, of course, like vending machines have been there for ages. I mean, the basic technology is maybe a couple of 100 years old. And the purpose is that everybody can serve themselves, and then the goods that they need are brought to them. And maybe 100, 150 years ago, we were looking at newspapers or tobacco or whatever that was. And the technology was pretty static until I think in the later years now, when we have all other technological advancements, but basically vending machines have been very much and are still very labor-oriented and labor-focused. Somebody has to carry the goods there, somebody has to buy the goods. So basically the only thing that happens there automatically is maybe the purchasing. And if you look at the old ones, so when you had maybe coins or cash and you put in there, put a code in, and then it would drop you something. In some cases, it didn't drop unless you hit the machine, and then you got your goods out of the slot. But today, when we talk about, so of course, there are many different technologies involved. And with Selfly Store, we work with RFID, which is then radio frequency signals in the items. So we put a sticker, or the merchants who are operating with our machines put a sticker. And within that sticker, you can code a lot of information in it. You can put that, for instance, who put the item in, when. You can put the expiry date of the product that you're going to put in. So if it's a fresh food or something, and with that, then the data is transferred to the kind of the computer or the unit inside, and then it knows exactly which items are in, who put them there. It will have telemetry for monitoring the temperature of the cabinets and all these things. And then this becomes data, of course, in the end. And then you can utilize the data for many things. But maybe what is then the intelligent part of it is then that you can actually have different kind of API connections to other sources as well, where you can use, for instance, weather data to predict what's going to be sold, or then just collect the historical data and compare that, wait a minute, was there a traffic jam at that time and how did that impact the sales? And with these kind of different data pools, then you start talking about intelligent vending. When you have this, you can, and with the AI or with humans as well, to just analyze the kind of data and make some conclusions out of it. So does that make sense?
It really does. And one of the first things that put you on my radar was when I was reading online how you leveraged some of the latest developments in IoT to create this completely new way of serving customers. But not only that, of course, you also have AI at the core of Selfie Store's operation. So just to bring that to life, how do these intelligent systems using AI and how do they predict demand and what impact has it had on consumer buying behaviors?
Yeah, that's a really good question and probably interesting for people to hear. So as you were mentioning, so IoT is in the core. So all the data goes into the cloud, and then within the cloud, then you can collect data from different selfie stores around there. So we have now customers in more than 20 countries in Europe and plenty of locations. So we collect all the real-time data, and then the AI can work with that. A couple of examples that I could share what AI can do is then that in a normal case, that if you had a vending machine, so you might be wondering that should I sell maybe Coke Zero or Pepsi Max? Those are popular items, but often you sell one of them, you don't have both. But you don't know which one to go for. But here now with the data that we have and with AI, so we can ask the question that what should you sell? Because this location is, let's say it's in a hospital and the temperature is like this and that. So comparing the data from other selfie stores, so then it will be able to tell you actually that, yeah, maybe you should go to this direction. With cool stuff with AI is that it's not saying actually that which one should you go, because then what we found out is that it would say that actually you should have them both. And if you have them both, so based on the data that we had from history, so it would actually increase the sales of other products inside the cabinet by 43%. So then you know that, okay, I shouldn't ask that which one should I have. I should have them both, and then actually increases the sales of other items in the cabinet. So this way is a kind of a clear example of what you can work with AI and data and pick up these things. It can be anything of what kind of bundle deals we should have, what kind of discounts work well, or what kind of maybe a Women's Day is coming up. So how should the assortment change for that specific day? So anything like that. So then AI is a very useful tool for us to find out from a big bunch of data, a data pool there, and have these predictions that, okay, what should you do to sell more?
And one of the things I try and do on this podcast every day is getting people thinking differently about technology and how it impacts places that they don't automatically associate with technology. And I would say a vending machine, for example, is a perfect example of that. And another thing that stands out is that ability of your technology to provide real-time data on sales. So important now, but also inventory and customer behaviors, etc. So again, to bring that to life, are you able to share how that level of insight is improving or maybe even transforming the way that merchants manage their operations?
Yeah, I think funny thing which always with this great technology and tools is that you still need somebody to say that, yeah, I will follow the opinions of the AI as an example. So even if you predict what's going to be sold, so then somebody has to do go for it. Year on year, when we look at the sales differences, on average, selfie stores out there sell now more than 30% more than a year ago. So I think that's a kind of a proof case of the changes there. But not all work with the kind of things, and many of our customers, which is fine. Of course, they can make their own decisions, so they sell whatever they want. But what we've been seeing here is that I'm maybe using an example from marketing and kind of this A/B testing and multivariate testing. So these can be speed up quite quickly. And I think one of the biggest questions is that how do you use dynamic pricing? So I think these kind of dynamic pricing examples from travel industry or even e-commerce. So here you can make a big buck in a quick time. So for instance, if the weather gets super hot, I'm sure that in the UK as well, some days it does get that, in London at least.
Yeah.
And then you see the demand of beverages going up. So we humans are quite slow to react to that. But then you can automate lots of things in this, that let's say that the beverages unusually, the sales is peaking up. Normally you sell 2 per hour. Now you're selling 5 per hour. So you should change the price. And then you can automate these things with AI quite quickly to kind of work better. And in that moment, you make a lot more money than you would normally do. And then actually customers are also happier because when you are in need, so you're happy to pay more as long as you get the product that you want, which is then a funny thing to think. But I think it's more like that you are happy to pay if you get something. And the most disappointing for a consumer is that there's no inventory. And at the same time, then our machine would send that, hey, the sales of these beverages are going high. So there's kind of push notification for the merchant that, hey, you should stock up quickly. It seems that now you're doing well. And then with our system, it's quite easy that, okay, let's say that you had there some sandwiches that are not going to sell you at the same time while you refill with new beverages. You just take out the sandwiches, and that is done in mere seconds, maybe 30 seconds. You're done your refill and taking out some items, and then you're good to go to sell with new consumers and make more money. So I think those kind of individual moments and being able to be more proactive in those are the best cases to make more money. And it can be anything that in a normal day you make 100 euros, but on that day you make 500 euros, 1,000 euros. We do see this at events as an example, that a lot more money is made on those events when you can predict what's going to be sold in the next hour or so.
And obviously you're based in Finland, I'm based here in the UK. We'll have people listening in 165 countries or something like that, I think. So which markets do you serve? I think I read online something like 20 plus countries, is that right?
Yeah. At the moment we are in Europe, so anything from Finland to Spain, even to actually Malta and Canary Islands. But of course we are working towards other markets. So we are now entering the US market and the North American and testing out. I know that the competition is hard, but we'll see how we do there. Why aren't we serving other markets yet is based on the certification processes. So when we work with RFID, so when they're radio signals as an example, so different regions in the world have different these frequencies allowed and so on. Plus then, of course, components are different for when we talk about even freezer and frozen temperature and products that we are manufacturing and operating with. So then you need some local specifications that actually is pretty dreadful to kind of comply with. So that's why we've been focusing in Europe for the time being. But of course, in the future, also working with other locations and areas than Europe.
Fantastic. And we do have a lot of people listening in the US, so it'd be great to hear if anyone gets in touch with you about that. But back to the retailers themselves, I think extending service hours, no matter where people are located in the world, it's crucial for so many businesses. So how do your solutions enable merchants to offer that round-the-clock service without increasing overhead costs? Is there anything you can share around how you do that too?
Yeah, so basically what we try to do is that the vending machines or the cabinets are as easy as to use as your home fridge would be. Of course, here with that, you need to open it with your credit card or Apple Pay or something. So they look nice and are easy to use, and you open the door and then you can hold the items in your hand, pick how many you want, and then when you close the door, so then the purchasing is done. So quick and easy to use. Here, if somebody wants to operate with 24/7, so you can just leave the cabinet there, it will do its business. If something has run out, so of course then it's not available, but the other items are there. And in cases that if you want these push notifications to show that, okay, some items are going to run low or are finished, so then you get that information. But there, I think the most advantage comes from the predictive planning of refills and what products are going to be sold. It can be anything related to, like I said, to the temperature or the day. So the data will kind of tell you a bit like, okay, in an office as an example, that Friday afternoon is the peak day, peak hours, but Saturday, Sunday, there's not so many traffic, there are not so many people there around. So of course, on that day, it doesn't make sense to refill it, or unless you want to refill it so that it's full on Monday. And so we have like hotels working a lot with data that when people come in, are they more like families or business travelers? And then you change the assortment based on that. And then you can again predict the sales a bit and how much of each item should you have there to be able to serve the consumers when they come. And then, of course, the best is the quickness of the turnaround of your stock so that you can then refill, but so that it's never empty, but never keep like expiring products inside. So I think it comes to that all in all, that you just kind of work with the data, with the predictive sales of the upcoming items and so on, and then you're covered with that.
And as someone right in the heart of this space, how do you see intelligent vending machines and other similar technologies? How do you see all this combining and influencing maybe traditional retail models? Are you noticing any changes here?
Yeah, I don't know if it's more of my dream or reality, but I do see this like a lot of time we talk about last mile delivery being the most expensive one. I do see this kind of more half mile stores coming with intelligent vending, where again the what is sold where is more depending on the data that's collected from that source, and then the assortment is based on the needs by the consumers nearby, and that will change the game. That can mean anything from holiday resorts that are very remote, that you will have services in those places where you don't normally have. It could be next to a hiking route or on the top of the mountain, or just when you come late to the hotel where nobody's there, so you are served. But it also could mean that like basically restaurants that are very popular have more of these kind of pop-up shops for you to go and serve yourself, which are then not exactly where the restaurant is, but maybe 2 miles away from them. But then for the consumer, it makes sense because then ordering in might make sense, but then the restaurant is losing a lot of money and it takes time and you're waiting, whereas you can then serve yourself maybe the halfway to the restaurant and these things. So I do see these things happening, especially if you think of the development of robotics for the refilling. So I think that's going to kind of change the game a lot, because then you don't need to have these kind of big warehouses or big marketplaces, which is logistically smart when the logistical costs go low. But with robotics development, so I should see these kind of half-mile stores, which are closer to the consumers, but with maybe automated refills or automated transportation, then where the cost of the transportation is not that relevant anymore. So that will change the game. When will that happen? I don't know. Do you see the same, or how does that sound to you?
Yeah, no, it's very similar. And one of the things that I think might hold people back, I suppose, is some of the perceived challenges. And I'm curious, from your side, right in the eye of the storm again, what kind of challenge have you faced when integrating complex technologies like IoT, like AI into consumer-facing products? Because there is, I think, in traditional sectors, there's a certain amount of nervousness or maybe even anxious about integrating technologies like this and just putting it out there and letting it run itself. Are you seeing that too, or not? Or what kind of challenges have you come across?
Yes, I think our approach for consumers is to keep it as simple as possible. So that's what I'm talking about, this kind of as easy to use as your home fridge would be. So that you just kind of figure it out how to open it, and you pull the door open, pick the items and close it. And that's it for the consumer. It's more related then to the payment methods that can you use your Apple Pay, or do you have an app, or how to pay? So as long as it's simple for the consumer, everything works well. But then, of course, then inside the hood, then you have all this tech and then the cloud-based systems and AI. So I think that might be then frightening for many. And then for the operators and the merchants there, so how to use that, and are they comfortable with that? Do they trust even that kind of a predictive refill plan that we should do this? So I think that's a bigger challenge for us, and we do see lots of things there. But we do see lots of companies like really happy about it, because they can then use their existing ERP systems, inventory managements, and everything is automated based on that. So they can even do their own API connections and work with whatever they want. So they are super happy about it. I think traditionally vending machines haven't been a lucrative opportunity for grocery stores or even restaurants, because it's just a small scale operations. You fit a couple of hundred items per time there. So it's maybe not worth the time that you waste on operating them. But now it's changing a bit more. So I do see a bright future there for sure.
And there was a quote about 5 or 10 years ago now, it was the IBM leader, and she said that the last best experience that any consumer has anywhere becomes the standard expectation of what they expect to see everywhere. So there's also, I think, an element of business leaders cannot afford to ignore these advances in technology. As those expectations rise, as technology increases, ignoring it means they could get left behind. So how should business leaders maybe better prepare their companies to harness the benefits of things like AI, like IoT, and ultimately ensure that they stay ahead in this rapidly evolving technological landscape and don't get left behind?
Yeah, really, really good question, Neil. I wish I can answer it well. Let's see. I was surprised when I'm not tech savvy myself, but I'm really into learning about those things. So, for instance, with AI and data, so I was surprised that you actually need to sort the data in a proper way and first think, okay, what do you want to get out of it? So, for instance, what we noticed in the beginning was that it's not about for instance, the size of the bottle or can that you're selling, if it's Coke or something. You need to have different categories for them to understand. So we were asking questions that what kind of bundle deals people buy? And then if you just have the exact items that, let's say you have a tuna salad and a tuna sandwich, and then you have a Coke Zero and maybe the standard Coke and so on. So you will have so many different bundle deals that it makes no sense. You just see that you have many bundle deals, but there were 100 different versions of it. So then you needed to categorize that, okay, maybe these are beverages, these are meal items. Maybe you're interested in sandwiches versus salads. And there the data starts like, okay, the AI helps a lot after that, or you can work quickly with data to understand that, okay, which are the beverages? And then with the proper categories, then you ask new questions. So you start building the kind of the item level categories for each items. And after that, you start seeing benefits. Another example that I was asking was that, okay, let's say, are sugar-free products healthy? And are people actually buying only sugar-free products when they buy something? Or is it more that they buy, again, like a Pepsi Max, but they might buy a Snicker bars, which is then with sugar? So these kind of things, when you start asking, so then you need to build the data with those questions and be able to find the answers. And when you have those, after that, the AI benefits start to kind of build up. And then, of course, in order to be able to use the data, so you need these IoT systems, real-time data. You need maybe studying your cloud services that you're working with. Do they actually have the capabilities already? If they do, and they have some algorithms for you, you are speeding up your process a lot. So, I mean, that first for me, it was almost looking at the dictionary of what these concepts mean. And then like figuring out, okay, what's the first step? What's the second step? What would benefit? What would change my mind if I found the information? And then the other part is looking at like what would make my life easy. So when we started with the IoT, so telemetry of the cabinets, that you don't need to literally go and see what's wrong, but you can again find out from the data that, okay, maybe the cooling unit has broken down because the temperature is now very high. So then you know when you go there to visit physically that bring up tools to fix the cooling unit or a replacement cooling unit, so on. So I think it starts from these kind of questions that what would save my time, what would benefit me, what would I want to know to change my mind? And with those approaches, then you have plenty of different technical opportunities to kind of move forward. And of course, AI being one that I think everybody should study a lot to understand what it can do, because it can really change your game in many ways.
And you've been on an inspiring journey and seen so many big changes in your industry. So if you were to look over your shoulder now at your career, reflecting on your past leadership roles compared to your current position, how would you say your vision of unmanned retail and smart technologies has evolved over the years? Because we've seen so many huge technological changes over the last 12 to 18 months. But what have you seen here?
Well, yeah, I think for me, why I even wanted to go for this business was that I'm so frustrated in queuing. So I just hate it that basically all the information all the time is there, that I would want to go to the grocery store when there's nobody else, or going to the airport as quickly as possible with no queuing and everything. So to me, that was the trigger to kind of go into this industry and learn how you could actually tackle the queues. So I think that's one. But I think what we are seeing is a lot about this kind of self-service development in general. And I mean, it's not only about like the traditional vending machines were more like if you're traveling in a train station, you pick up something to drink and that's it. Or it's just conveniently sometimes there, but you're not paying attention. But I do see now, of course, being in the industry, that I see a lot more of these kind of cool solutions where anything is possible and the waiting time is very limited. I like these home deliveries in a way are also, they have the waiting time similarly. So I do see these trends that we don't like to queue, we don't like to wait. So that's changing a lot and has changed a lot in the last 18 months in my mind, at least.
And on behalf of everyone listening who might be inspired by your journey, I think for a lot of people, there is a real pressure on us all to be in a state of almost continuous learning. So a question I'd love to ask to finish our conversation today is, where or how do you self-educate? Any tips you can share on that?
Yeah, I'm very diligent on that. Every morning when I wake up, so I actually do some yoga and learn something. So I do listen to a lot of audiobooks and podcasts like this. I mean, these are great sources to kind of, I try to listen to one podcast episode per day, mainly tech and leadership, sometimes sales and marketing as well, but just to keep there and hear what other business leaders are talking about, what they're working with. So I think that's super important. So to me, I think if you look at 10 years back, so it was more on the news that what has happened in the world, whereas now I'm very focused on understanding what's happening in the business, not from the business side, but maybe even from the technological developments and new ideas. So every day I listen to one or even more podcast episodes to learn what's happening there from different business leaders. So that's how I keep myself as educated as I can.
Well, you're such an inspiring guy, and I would imagine there'll be a lot of people listening wanting to find out more information about your work and maybe connect with you or ask your team a question. But anyone listening just wanting to find out more about you and your technology and your work, what's the best starting point for everything?
Yeah, of course, if you want just to know about what we do, so our website, www.selfishstore.com, is there. We are active on LinkedIn, myself as well. I think I'm the only Aslak de Silva in the world. So if you find me there, so it's me. I'm happy to connect with everybody and continue learning together what's the world going to be in the future. So yeah, please find us on LinkedIn. Even Twitter works well as well, or X nowadays, yeah.
Well, not only are you the only Aslak de Silva in the world, I would also say you're one of the very, very few that are using IoT, machine learning and AI to offer smart vending machines that make grab-and-go food shopping as easy as using your home fridge. A huge achievement to pull that off, and it's been absolutely fascinating hearing more about your story and how this technology's evolved. But thank you so much for sharing your story today.
Thanks, Neil. It was fun to be here. Thank you so much.
So as we conclude our conversation today, I think it's evident that the integration of AI and IoT and machine learning and smart vending technology, it's not just transforming how their customers shop, but also how businesses operate. We're starting to see examples now of the strategic use of real-time data and predictive analytics, and how that is almost paving the way for a new era of convenience and efficiency in retail. But hey, this world is not for everyone. What do you think about the rise of intelligent vending machines and their impact on your daily shopping experience? Could this technology be key to a smarter, more responsive retail environment? So this is where I invite you to share your thoughts and questions with us today. So please email me, techblogwriter@outlook.com, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, just @NeilC.Hughes. Let me know how you see smart vending technology evolving in your community, whether that's a good thing or a bad thing. And if you want to come on here and talk with me about that, we can do that too. But that's it for today, so thank you for listening as always, and hopefully you'll join me again tomorrow. But until next time, don't be a stranger.